Welcome to EnVision Center News, where we discuss community impact and involvement with today's nonprofit leaders and philanthropists.
Jennifer, hello, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello, how are you?
I am so well. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to talk about the different ways that you help those in our community who need it. But before we get into how you help others, let's focus on you for a second. Tell me about your background. Like, are you a local? Did you move here? Kind of a little bit about your education, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so we moved here 7 years ago from Oregon. Nobody hate me, please. We moved for all the right reasons. And we're not trying to change anything. I feel like I always have to kind of give that disclosure for folks. We live down in Carywood. It's just my husband and I and our 2 dogs. And as far as education goes, I tried college. It was not a for me thing. I've been in sales the majority of my adult life. I started as a mortgage broker and did some banking for a while. And then about 13, 14 years ago, I started doing insurance. So it was always home, auto, commercial lines. And then
Did somebody you knew like kind of mentor you into that, or how did you make that transition? Because I don't think a lot of people are 18 and they think down the road insurance.
No. So I was actually a mortgage broker during the recession.
Okay.
I left that industry in 2010, and I kind of took some time off. My grandma was still alive, so I kind of helped take care of her, run her to her doctor's appointments, things like that. And then kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do. Tried going back to school again. Just was not my thing. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so I was just, back then it wasn't like Google is today. It was, a computer. But I typed in, what are the jobs that you can do in sales? You make your own schedule. You have your own independence. But you make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things is either you be a mortgage broker, or there's pharmaceutical sales, or insurance. Mm-hmm. So I was like, hey, I'm going to try this. And so 2011, I got licensed and started out kind of just on my own, really. The first year was kind of floundering, I'm not going to lie. And then about 18 months in, I had a wonderful couple that owned an American Family Agency there in Central Oregon. And they brought me in and they kind of nurtured all of it. And then they moved to Montana when they retired, and we moved to Idaho shortly after that. And so took a year off kind of here. I was still licensed, still helping, but not actively out selling. Mm-hmm. I kind of just wanted to enjoy North Idaho for a change.
How did you know about North Idaho? I mean, it's not like the state's too far away, but like, how did you know to come to this area?
So funny thing about that, my husband and I got married in 2016. And I'm not sure if you all remember, but back then it was the Zika virus was just running rampant. Mm-hmm. So our plan, we got married in October. Our plan was originally to go to New Zealand, spend 2 weeks, travel New Zealand, enjoy that. And then the Zika virus was running wild. And we ended up inviting far too many people to our wedding. So budget kind of had to shift. Mm-hmm. Asked some friends, where can we go for a week? Just really hang out, enjoy some pretty scenery. And it was suggested McCall. Mm-hmm. So we went to McCall and then kind of drove up and then found Coeur d'Alene. It took us 2 years to get here. We had to sell our house in Bend and find jobs and do all of that. And then we moved. And you honestly could not pay me to go back. And I don't say that just to sound, flippant or whatever, but it's home. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a similar story. I'm from Washington, so also moved here, and then people look at you like, you're from Washington, and same thing. I'm not trying to change anything. I like it the way it is.
Yes. How fast did you feel like you had to change your license plates? That was one thing we got hounded about. Like, you need to change your plates if you live here. I'm like, okay. So like in the first 6 weeks, mm-hmm. we're getting our new licenses and changing our license plates and things like that. What part of Washington did you move from?
I am originally from Hoquiam, Washington, little town on the coast.
Okay.
But before we moved out here, my husband and I and our kids, I lived in Tacoma.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So busy. So this is much quieter.
But the town I'm originally from is more
small.
like is small. I'm the small town girl. My husband's from Seattle, so he's the city guy who's now
Nice.
the small town guy.
That's nice, though.
Yeah, it is. And we love it here too, and we don't have any intention of leaving unless we were forced into it by some strange circumstance.
Yeah.
So so you've transitioned into insurance.
Yep.
You kind of learned from a couple that sort of mentored you in Oregon, but then you moved here and were sort of doing it, but not really. And when did you start jumping back in with 2 feet?
Full bore, I was back into it in 2020. It was that, obviously, as everybody knows, COVID happened, so things just changed. The environment changed, and so 2020 was the year. It gave me a chance to kind of start building the business back up, figured out what I really wanted to do, and then...
And this was you solo?
Yeah, this is me. Yep, I don't have anybody. No staff. If you call me, it's going to be me. If you get an email, it's me. And I kind of run the business that way because I don't ever want people to feel like they're a number.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredibly important to me. But yeah, I just started and I said, okay, well, we're going to have to build the entire book of business from scratch in North Idaho. So I did it and it's been great. I really started doing healthcare about 5 years ago, and then Medicare in the last probably 4. Really, really active though the last 3. And I did not realize the need for seniors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they all have Medicare. You turn 65, you know you have to get Medicare, but it's basically a foreign language for folks, and they don't make it very easy. The government doesn't make it very easy. And so that was kind of my passion, and then now it's just kind of morphed.
Did you end up just getting kind of one person that came in the door and they were confused and you were helping them and they're like,
Yep.
wait a minute, then another, and then before you know it, now you've kind of found your niche?
Yes. Yep. So like I said before, I took care of my grandma in her final few years. And granted, that was, 13 years ago. So Medicare was completely different. And then like you mentioned, I did have somebody call because I also do marketplace insurance. And like, hey, can you help my mom, with Medicare? And so I helped. And so it kind of just progressed from there. And now I'm passionate about all insurance, but Medicare is where my heart is.
Mm-hmm.
Our seniors need somebody who can go to their home and sit with them and explain things and show them all of the different avenues where they can get help and help them feel, secure in their healthcare. Healthcare is a deeply personal decision, especially if it's it is a financial decision, but also if you are going to be paying for your monthly premium and, you kind of want to know the ins and outs. You just make a lot less giant jumps when you're on Medicare than you do if you say, you have an employer plan and then they change carriers the following year or you switch jobs. So, yeah.
And so I guess you just mentioned you actually make house calls?
Yep.
You go, so that's a little bit different, I think, than the standard insurance broker. And has that always been the way that when you were by yourself in Oregon, was that what you did too? Or why not a brick and mortar office?
Why not? Okay, so no, in Oregon, I had a brick and mortar. I was part of an agency. They had a brick and mortar store or office, and it was great. When it comes to seniors, a lot of our seniors, particularly our lower income seniors, or I guess just seniors in general, you have a lot of people who don't drive as much, or they have health concerns, or, there's a very real fear of giving out your personal information to somebody over the phone or, on social media. And so I always wanted it to be, I want to give them the one-on-one care so that they know if they have an issue, they can call me and I will answer. But it's more just, I wanted that personal connection. And I'm always taking new clients. I'm always willing to help, but I try and keep things, a relatively manageable number, because I don't want to ever lose that one-on-one time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no brick and mortar. I'm at the Sandpoint Food Bank on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm at the Newport, Washington Food Bank a couple Tuesdays a month.
And you're there just to talk, just for
Just to
people
help.
to just,
Yep.
like, you're helping stock shelves, or you're helping like seniors who come in and they know, okay, this is the lady I can go to for help.
Both.
Okay.
And then at Priest River is a wonderful food bank. I'm there on Thursdays. Because of how they're set up, I'm able to kind of help stock. I mean, I'm there for Medicare. I'm there to answer insurance questions of all calibers, but mostly Medicare. And so, if they need me and it's quiet or I don't have anybody with me, I'm definitely jumping in and helping where I can.
Cool. So is there anything else, like what else is kind of unique? And maybe there isn't. I mean, going door to door is pretty unique, I think, or not knocking door to door, but doing home visits is pretty unique as far as I understand it. But, when you found this population that you really want to serve, what are some other ways that your service is different than if they were to go to kind of your standard name brand kind of brick and mortar shop?
Brick and mortar is great. There's a lot of wonderful agents who have done that, and they have large books of business, and they're great. I have always run the business though with the first and foremost thing is, if God can't be the forefront of the business, then I don't want to do it. I lead with that passion very much, and it's always treat others how you want to be treated. And so I'm the kind of person who, with the EnVision Center, Anna Marie, who comes out to the Priest River Food Bank on Thursdays, has allowed me to really expand the services and the directions I can help our seniors go. I have sent folks, obviously, to the food bank, and you guys were so wonderful in helping me get a cell phone set up for a gentleman who had no other way of communication and lives 6 miles out of town. You guys, it's just been a beautiful partnership. So I'd love to be an all-in-one. So I do my best to be an all-in-one. If I can't find an answer, or I can't find somebody, I will figure something out for you. But that's really been my passion, is just kind of being a one-stop shop. A lot of folks don't realize that if you have family around and they're willing to be helpful, that is great. The majority of our seniors, though, do not have somebody who can answer or help guide them, with their healthcare decisions, or, what do I need to take to the food bank to get signed up, or how do I get a cell phone? And I did not know that, other than going to Verizon and buying one. And, Angel here was able to help me get that sorted out for a client. So I want to be able to be a resource for them, but also a safe space where they can vent. It's probably not a surprise, but gentlemen of the senior population don't really like to admit that they need help. But I have built a lot of really amazing relationships, so they can call and say, hey, Jen, I'm getting this runaround from this doctor, or they're not covering my prescription at the pharmacy. And I will call doctors, and I will call pharmacies, and I will bug the insurance company. I am not scared to go toe-to-toe with an insurance company if it's something that needs to be done.
Okay, so this is really interesting, and I think probably a lot of people that are involved in just volunteering, nonprofit work could relate to this, or maybe have come across the struggle where, for you specifically, the way you pay your bills and earn your money is intertwined also with this service that like a lot of free labor that I'm assuming you do, right? To help people get what they need outside of just helping someone with a cell phone. That's not required of an insurance agent, right? To go above and beyond in those ways and to help people out. So how do you sort of like keep yourself in check, I guess, to where you're like, okay, this is my business. This is also the way that I serve. And what lines don't you try to cross? Or are you just like, hey, I just go where the Holy Spirit leads me and just trust that it's all going to be good?
Yeah, so it's funny. My husband has had to kind of rein in the spending for food bank donations because I would just give it all. He's wonderful and caring and so giving, and I am truly blessed. But he's like, hey, we kind of got to we have our budget, our charity budget, and, you're doing your time and things, but God takes care of us, like I said, he gets to determine where I go. There's a lot of changes for 2026, and I was like, okay, maybe we don't do Medicare this year, or, go out and solicit for new clients or help new folks. Maybe we just take care of the group that I already have.
Because you were feeling like you wouldn't be able to service them all the way that you wanted to if you expanded, or?
Well, so truly, the insurance companies is who pays us. All insurance companies, all of them pay the same. Some of them have like little bonus kickers, but all Medicare companies, they all pay the same amount of money. So I'm appointed with all of them. So I'm not beholden to anyone saying, you can only say this and do this. That's not what's in the best interest in today's world. People need to know what their options are. They need to be able to research that, or I research it for them, and have the autonomy to decide what's best for them. But because of the changes in the healthcare landscape, there's a lot of carriers that are not paying agents this year. There's a lot of plans that we normally would get paid for when we sign on new clients or at renewals, and there's a lot of that's not happening this year. So for me,
And what do you mean? So I'm totally ignorant as to how all this works. No, you're good. So you can do the labor to get someone signed up, and then they just don't pay you? That's just, they can just decide, hey, we're not paying you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a newer thing. It really started kind of last year. There was a lot of Medicare changes last year, and a bunch of the companies said, hey, we're having a really hard time absorbing these changes, and we just can't pay on certain plans. And then it's kind of expanded to certain plans. Every carrier now has certain plans, and it's like you're going to sign somebody up, and it's kind of how it was worded to me was it's pro bono, which obviously I need to make a living, but I'm not going to turn somebody away if they need help. I'm not going to put somebody in a plan that, okay, I might get paid on this one this year, and then we'll change them next year. Like,
so are they trying to just incentivize agents to not sign people up for those plans? So that, like, basically they want those plans to go away.
Yeah. So basically what it is the insurance companies, I guess it goes back to the Inflation Reduction Act. The out-of-pocket prescription max was $8,000  2 years ago. And now, because that was put in place, it is now $2,000 for this year. Well, prior to the $8,000, it was $12,000. So in less than a few years, you've got these insurance companies who were able to charge people for their prescriptions up to $12,000 out of pocket per year. And now they're at $2,000. And as much as I love my carriers, it's all business, right? Like they're not going to lose money. They're going to adjust their sales.
Yeah.
They have to keep their doors open. They have to keep plans available. And they offer, the best benefits that they can. But with that, there has to be some give and take. And this year, it's on the agent side. But, ultimately, yeah, we can do the work and not get paid this year. And we might get paid for them next year, at the renewal. But that's kind of where we're at, yeah.
And do you find that you have so many, like, were you already, not even considering this payment stuff, just with your workload, like how many clients can you really take on? Were you finding that you're already at the max with the amount of seniors and just other people needing insurance for other things that were coming to you? Or do you feel like you still had plenty of room to take on?
Oh, yes. Bring them all on.
Okay.
Yes. My heart and my business, we are open. I will help whoever. It might take me, a couple hours to get back to you. Or it might be the next business day. But I typically will work Saturdays. I don't have an office, so I work from home. Lately, I've been working pretty much out of my car, running back and forth to all the food banks and meeting with clients in their homes. But yes, I will help whoever, however I can, especially with Medicare. The Medicare and Medicaid senior population, which is for severely low income seniors, we have seen a large increase in the state of Idaho. So there are new plans specifically designed for that population that are offering more benefits for things like groceries, or you can pay utilities, a lot more dental, vision, hearing. A lot of the Advantage plans have that, but the companies have really stepped up to say, hey, we see this is happening with our seniors. We really need to do something. And so my thing is, if they're all going to step up and God gives me the capacity, we'll keep going. But yeah, that's my plan.
What's your business called? Is it just your name? How do people find you?
Oh, so I don't have a website because I'm still working on that. It's just, my name's Jennifer Owens, but the business name is Choice Armor Insurance.
Okay.
And my phone number is 208-425-4522. You can call or text me at any time. I'm trying really hard not to work on Sundays, but if you send me a message or you call me, chances are I'm going to answer it. I don't like to wait. I'm not a very patient woman, so I don't want others to have to wait. But yeah, I do my best.
Okay. And so how have you been able to, it's all been word of mouth then, and you just being at the food banks as to how people have, because you don't even have a website. Like people aren't stumbling upon you on the internet. They're stumbling upon you in real life.
Yep. And I just talk to folks. It's been a lot of referrals. Yeah, I mean, it's truly been God's hand guiding the clients towards me, and he brings all the right clients, right? I mean, I have some who are not necessarily the kindest people, but they know that they have a place in my business. They know that I will take care of them. But yeah, it's word of mouth, and now I'm at the food banks. I've only been at the food bank since March, and those interactions have been really positive. So yeah, that's kind of.
Okay. And what do you have other than just saying, hey, I'm open to taking on more clientele? Do you have any ways that you, like maybe speaking of 2026 or beyond, like that you're thinking of evolving or changing or new things that you want to do within your business?
Yeah. So I have been holding events at the local libraries. I actually have an event. I have to look up the date. I'm sorry. I actually have an event on November 13th. In Priest River at the Priest River Library from 4 to 6. And then there's one in Athol on November 18th from 11 to 5:30 at the community center. So basically what happens is if people show up, I kind of go over, the ins and outs of Medicare. This is what the standard is. I'll answer fairly generic questions just to kind of get people familiar really what the updates are coming. A lot of the folks that I'm seeing is they already have Medicare. They kind of already know how it works. But because of the changes, they're hearing from TV or their friends or social media. So it's really about making sure that they're educated. And then if they want me to look at their plan or something of that nature, I'm absolutely able to help them do that as well. But yeah, I'm working on doing more marketing.
Sounds like you don't need it.
No. Well, I mean, I'd love to help more. But yes, being at the food bank at all of them, have been a true blessing. So I'm glad to continue my partnership with all of them.
And so anybody can call you with any kind of question, any kind of inquiry. Maybe they're the caretaker like you were, and it's not them that needs the help, but their grandparent does, or their parent or uncle or whatever. Anybody can reach out to you, give you a call, and just say, I'm lost.
Yes.
And you'll take it from there.
Yes. Yep. I work with several caregivers locally, lots of family members who have power of attorney. Unfortunately, we've seen an uptick in dementia with folks, and it's not necessarily people who are in their late 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's just a different level of health problems. And so, yeah, I work kind of with everybody that needs the help or needs the direction. I'm there to help.
And your husband does this with you, or he's
Nope.
not? He's not a part of it. Okay, it's totally you on your.
Yep.
On your own. Okay.
Yep. He works for TDS, which is a telecom company. And so, luckily, they treat him very, very well. And that kind of allows me to do what I do and to chase this calling and passion. So it's been great.
How do you stay energized? I mean, you've got your geographical map is actually pretty large. And so if you're doing these house calls and you're kind of driving all over the county or counties potentially, how do you keep at it? What like keeps you pumped and motivated every day?
Sometimes it's coffee. But it's just really knowing that what I'm doing is making a difference. And I'm not just saying that because, it sounds good. It looks good on a coffee cup or whatever. I truly do mean that. I get excited to meet with people and to help them and to answer their questions. I am a problem solver. So if there's an issue that I can kind of pull apart and help somebody with something, a big joy of my life has been going to the food banks to see people. A lot of them come in on the same day every week. So I've developed those relationships. So that's been wonderful. But yeah, I mean, I'm in Washington. I'm in Spokane all day tomorrow meeting with my clients there. So I'm kind of all over. But yeah, it's just, you take one client at a time and you just kind of go, you do what you do. And when I get tired, I make a good dinner, hang out with my husband and the dogs, and next day we're back at it.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of people now that maybe you have this reputation of being this like fix-it gal, not just with Medicare or insurance issues, but with hey, you need she helped me get a cell phone. Do you regularly now have people reaching out for it's not even like centered around the Medicare piece. It's just I need help with like sort of the same way Angel would get a call here, right? With people just saying they need help with XYZ thing. Does that happen, or is it usually you're having a discussion with them about insurance and then you learn through that discussion, oh, you need help with this thing, and you know what? I happen to know somebody who can help you with that.
So both. So I have a lot of my clients, like I mentioned before, they don't have anybody. So depending on what the situation is, they'll call me and I'll kind of help guide them in the right direction or help them find resources. Another thing that has been a true blessing is the EnVision Center. I have people all the time who are calling me for things that either, and it's not that I don't have the time, it's that it's just not necessarily my full-time job wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And you guys here, that is your job. That is, the nonprofits in and out. You know the funding and what the processes are. So as much as I love to be that frontline helper, I do know that there are people who are better at it. So I definitely lean on the local nonprofits and the EnVision Center, and kind of do what I can. But like I mentioned before, I will call whoever I need to call to get somebody help if they really need it.
Okay. And so the important thing right now, actually relating to what you do, is open enrollment, right? Is in full swing. Yeah. What is, I don't know, some bullet points, some things that maybe people, if they're listening to this and they're like, oh yeah, open enrollment, and they're trying to figure out what their next steps are. What are some kind of like key things people should know or keep in mind during this season?
So with Medicare open enrollment, it ends on December 7th. So everybody, if you haven't looked at your plan or met with your agent or you need to talk to me, please let somebody know. Please look at your plans. There's a lot of changes for 2026 specifically. The networks for, physicians and hospitals are changing. There are some carriers you can't necessarily see certain doctors, in Washington anymore. Or some doctors have left the network altogether because they no longer want to work with that company. Prescription drug changes on the formularies this year is huge. So if you take medications, please check your formularies. If you need me to check them for you, I'm happy to do it. Please just call me. The other big thing is there are Regents is no longer in market. So if you have a Regents Medicare Advantage plan, you will need to make a change. Blue Cross of Idaho has made some changes as well. I mean, obviously, they all make changes, right? Pacific Source, United. But it's really being on top of knowing, what you have currently. But also, the question I always ask my folks is, okay, so we know what you have now. What does 2026 look like? What are our goals for 2026? Are we looking for more dental? Do we need, a plan that has more hearing coverage because our hearing's going bad? Do we have upcoming surgeries? Do we have a new illness that we're kind of needing more coverage in one way or another if there's co-pays. So it's really kind of looking at you as a whole person and the best plan that fits you, and making sure that they kind of mesh well.
Mm-hmm.
It is a big financial commitment.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about for people, this doesn't really apply to the seniors so much. I guess it could, but probably not typically. But people who are in those younger age brackets, what about the alternative sort of like if you don't do insurance, but you're doing the kind of bill sharing or some of those other things that seem to be getting quite popular? Do you help people navigate any of that stuff?
So are you talking about like Christian healthcare ministries?
Yes, and I think there's a few out there.
Yeah.
Some of them are Christian, some of them are not.
Yeah.
I think Christian healthcare ministries is one of the biggest.
Yeah. They are wonderful. They have, it's a little bit unique because you're paying a monthly premium and then, so they don't really have a network. So it's kind of like you can go see whoever you want to see and they're great plans. However, if you are somebody who really needs a specific set of doctors or you really have certain kind of illnesses and they're already being monitored, you kind of want to stick with a plan that's going to do that. Christian Healthcare Ministries, though, is wonderful. I have several people that I know, especially families that don't necessarily want to play in the big healthcare ball game, and I don't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
I do not blame them. And so those companies have really stepped up, and it's nice to see the expansion to give people, options because you're not dealing with nearly as many prior authorizations or companies really telling you no. That is one thing that is really wonderful about those carriers, and their pricing is absolutely competitive.
Yeah. And so you would, if somebody came to you and they were interested in that, you'd be like, okay, well, let's sit down. Sort of like you would sit down with someone and say, what do you think for next year? What are our goals?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yep.
Like if we're going to decide between kind of a traditional insurance plan or doing a Christian healthcare ministries, let's just talk about your family, your needs, etc. And then you would advise one way or the other, even though you wouldn't get anything from recommending, Christian healthcare ministries. Or I'm blanking on the names of some of the other.
Yeah, I know them too. And I just cannot. My brain is not there
I think
today.
Billy Graham's son has one, or Franklin Graham. I think he has a.
Yeah.
But of course, that would be a Christian, like a Good Samaritan one. But there's some that are not Christian. I'm like totally blanking on what they're called.
I saw them all. There was a whole list actually. I just saw on social media the other day, that are that way, and they're great. But yeah, my philosophy on healthcare is you get to make your decision. Whether I get paid or not, that doesn't matter. My services are always free to whoever I pick up the phone to talk to. If somebody's saying, hey, I don't necessarily want to deal with a large corporation, I want to deal with, Christian Healthcare Ministries or a company like that. Absolutely. We can compare, contrast. I advise. I never make the decision, though. I always want folks to look at the big picture. If they need a day or two or a week to think about it and call me in between and ask questions, absolutely. But it's, it's a big decision. It's especially if you're a young family. There is the Your Health Idaho Marketplace, which is just kind of like the Affordable Care Act or the Obamacare. You go on there. If you don't have insurance or an employer and you need insurance, that's where you go. There's a lot of plans there. Also for folks to choose from. It is, they are pricey, even with the tax credits that are now changing for 2026. But again, I will put a bunch of them side by side. You tell me what you need, what you're looking for, and we'll kind of just go from there.
I think that's really a beautiful thing about you, Jennifer, because I find that even if the person isn't even necessarily putting it on, I feel like if I'm talking to somebody who sells insurance, like pressure to like buy from them or to, to just just some kind of weird pressure that I'm probably always just kind of putting on, not always, but, frequently putting on myself. Like I said, they might not even be doing that. But it sounds like, when someone talks to you and is trying to like organize their life, really, it's almost like you're more of a life coach.
No,
or
yeah.
like
I don't want that job.
Like a life, not a life coach as far as like deeply personal stuff, but like, advice on like the business part of your life, which is the insurance and the money management and that sort of thing, and just getting your life in order. That's really what it sounds like. You do much more than an insurance broker.
Yeah, I try. I mean, I wish I could, do more and all things. But yeah, I want people to know that they have somebody who will be in their corner. And I'm very black and white when it comes down to sharing insurance, whether it's home and auto, a giant commercial policy, or healthcare. I'm not going to add fluff. I'm not going to try and convince you. I will show you your options. We'll go down the list, good, bad, and ugly. And kind of, like I said, I will advise. I will never make the decision for anybody. Yeah. I want to just be in their corner kind of a thing. Yeah.
And the point that you made earlier about especially the elderly frequently not having anybody in their corner is so critical for whatever reason. Their kids moved away, their spouse died, whatever has happened that has led them, like I think everybody knows, like particularly for the elderly, it can be, I think we have a loneliness epidemic, generally speaking, in the country.
Absolutely.
But it's always been that way for the elderly, or, amplified for the elderly. So really appreciate what you do there. What haven't we talked about yet? That any pointers or things, resources or anything that you wanted to point folks to?
If you are struggling right now with food, please go utilize your food banks. We are here. We have food. We are not government funded. They are all community funded and taken care of by the community, especially Bonner County. The community here is just otherworldly. I mean, the giving that is coming in the doors right now is wonderful, but keep it coming.
And you're alluding to like people who aren't getting their SNAP benefits and things like now there's going to be a spike potentially in.
Well, yeah, but even I have a lot of my clients that are seniors, and the average senior right now is getting about $1,000 a month in Social Security. They have to pay their home, their, all of their utilities, things like that. And a lot of them, especially men, I'm not just picking on men, but especially men, they don't want to utilize those resources. Just like they're not, I tell them, hey, call the EnVision Center. Oh, no, I don't need charity. And it's like, it's here for you. You've worked your entire life. You've worked hard. And right now, I feel like a lot of our seniors, I don't want to say they're getting left behind, but they're getting pushed aside. And I don't want people to keep falling by the wayside. I don't want folks to go hungry, elderly or, even babies. Yeah. So please utilize your community resources. They are there to help you. They are there to help you survive, whether it's right now with the SNAP benefits or just in day-to-day life. If you need to come in and see us at the food bank once a month or once a week, please come in and see us. Please call the EnVision Center. Please call me. And yeah, let's just get it figured out.
And I think the thing about taking on charity too is when you have a posture of just gratitude.
Yes.
And you don't feel entitled and you're just thankful for it. I think that's all anybody who gives to charity really wants, right? Is just to know that the people are thankful and grateful for it. Other than that, I know it's hard. But you don't need to feel guilty.
Yes, no, and don't be embarrassed. I have so many people, like today, there was a couple of men who came in and their families are struggling. They're not on SNAP. They're just struggling. It's just tough right now. Especially for families, the prices of rent and utilities and groceries and raising babies. And they were both apologizing. And it's like, do not apologize. This is what we are here for. We are here to help take care of our community. And I truly don't think that there's a better philosophy for life than, obviously put God first, your family, and then your community. It really is taking care of those who need you, whether they want your help right away or not, just kind of being there for them and reassuring them that you are there.
Yeah. And really putting your family and your community first is putting God first, whether you
Yes.
believe that or not.
Exactly. Yes.
That's
yes.
what the Lord wants us to do. So really appreciate what you do and
Thank you.
what a light you are. Thank you for being a partner of the EnVision Center.
Yes, thank
And,
you.
Let us know in the next, we'll put those events out, but let us know about all of your events and all the things.
Yes, thank
We would
you.
love to promote them and just love what you're doing.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody starts either calling, and then we can share folks. We can send them back and forth, and we can care for them, or they can come visit me at the food bank. And time to, if you're a member of your local food banks or you're not, don't forget to sign up for your turkeys for Thanksgiving. A lot of them are doing Thanksgiving, turkeys or baskets. So please make sure you're utilizing that. If you have turkeys that you would like to donate, we would love that. I'm not just promoting food banks because that's where I hang out the most right now. But yes, thank you guys for all that you guys do. I don't think you guys get enough recognition, or nonprofits in general get enough recognition for being out in the community. Everybody writes their checks and then they kind of just go on about their life. I don't think that nonprofits and advocates, really, that's what you guys are. You're advocates. I don't think you guys get enough credit. So I really do appreciate what you do for our community.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. For more information, you can go to crecIdaho.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again soon.